know what a good drink means. It is time for a swatch and sip where I swatch some beautiful eyeshadows, cover my body in these glimmery, shimmery shadows, and I sip on a nice drink. So pause this video, go ahead, get your drink ready. Let's look at some shifty, pretty, pearly eyeshadows, shall we? 3 of my favorite indie brands have all launched palettes. So I was like, okay, swatch and sip. Let's look at these shadows. So I have the new Fantasy Cosmetica palette. I have the new Sydney Grace palette. I'll also talk about the cheek palette that they are launching. And then also, what is on mis ojos is the Nomad Royal Europe palette, which is so beautiful. So we have a lot of swatching to do today. So let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start off with Fantasy Cosmetica, because this one is the one that launched first. So they also launched perfumes as well, which have very like woody, woodsies kind of sense, which if you know me, I am more of like a sweet, cupcakey, teenage kind of smell palette there. So these aren't my style, but they definitely, I feel like Jose would like these. So holding off for those. So they do have those perfumes, and we have the new Rogue palette, which, oh my gosh, the color story of this one is so beautiful. I do have a code for Fantasy Cosmetica and Nomad Cosmetics. I don't believe I have one for Sydney Grace. So are you guys ready to take a look? Oh, this is such a beautiful grungy palette. I absolutely needed to swatch this one for you guys. We're gonna ignore these nails for this swatch and sip. I'll get these done when I'm done unpacking. Okay, let's turn off the lights so you can really see the true beautiful colors. So this palette is $38.99, and I feel like every palette that comes out from Fantasy Cosmetica gets better and better. I'm trying to go down. Okay. I feel like every palette that Fantasy Cosmetica launches just gets better and better, which is why I'm so excited to swatch this. Okay, I'm going to keep you guys at the edge of your seats. I'm going to swatch the mattes first. So we're going to do Stealth, Shadows, which is this dark green, and then Subtle. Ooh, I love a good purple shade. So we'll start off with these 3. This is what they look like on my fingers. Here we go. So here's the first shade. Pretty subtle. Then we have a darker green. And then we have Subtle, which is the lilac shade. That one looks really pretty. I'm going to do a second layer on to see how they build. So that's what they look like with the second layer, so you can see more of the true color. So we're going to do Cunning and Assassin. I think this color story is so unique, right? You can get such cool smoky eyes. I haven't put these on my eyes yet, so I can't speak to the quality on application, but I will definitely let you guys know in a palette rankings once these make it to the eyeballs. But here's the matte shades, really grungy and unique. It's time. Okay, let's do the first 3 shades. So we have Trickster, Sleight of Hand. Ooh, they feel really creamy, and Sneak Attack. Now, the first palette I ever tried from this brand, these shadows that they had were almost gummy-like. I like these better because they feel more powdery. Look at that. Look how flaky and beautiful that one looks. Okay, let's do Trickster first. Definitely the most magical part of this brand is gonna be these shimmer shades. Really nice. Okay, Sleight of Hand. This one's more purple blue, which is more my speed. I'm gonna do a double layer here. I just dip back it in. So this one I feel like has more of a sheer base, which is gonna look really dimensional over top of a shadow. Like, think about this over the blue or the black. It will be insane. Oh, I'm sorry, this one is Sneak Attack, this one's Sleight of Hand, and this one is Trickster. My apologies. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this is so creamy. This is why we do swatch and sips, because, oh my goodness, look at that. That is so stinking beautiful. Love that. Okay. One last shade. So this shade's name is Deception. It doesn't look like Trickster. It feels more like a true powder shadow, not multi-chrome, but oh my gosh, look at that. Oof, there's like some green in there. Okay, you ready? Oh, wow. Yep, okay. Okay, I'm really excited for this palette. This one is going to give some really unique looks. What do you guys think? I love it. So if you want to support a small indie brand, this is definitely one of the more unique color stories that I'm sharing today. So this one's really exciting. Sip time! One sec, I'm looking for this palette. Next up, let's get into the Nomad palette. So this launches March 28th, which I believe is today. It launched at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time, and they really amped it up with this packaging. Wow, I love this Nomad. And wait till you see the color story. Looks like this. Now this one I feel like is almost kind of wintry, right? The Rogue palette from Fantasy Cosmetica was definitely wintry, but what's super special about this launch is they are launching their first ever multi-chrome shimmers. And if there's anyone in particular that you like, they are gonna sell these bottom 5 individually. So once again, I will be swatching the mattes first, and then we'll get into the multi-chromes. And I do have this palette on my eyes. So I'll share this look with you when we get there. But let's start off, we're gonna swatch like this way. So we have, okay, I can't pronounce some of these, but these formulas in here are so nice. I really feel like they've improved their formula even more with this palette. So here are the first 4 shades. Like, look how buttery, smooth, and pigmented they look. As I'm blending them, you can see they're working right with it. Well, apparently you can't see. Excuse me. Okay, and then here's the 4th shade. Look, the pigment is crazy. It was almost too pigmented. When I did this look, I just wasn't expecting it. This is by far the best matte formula that Nomad has done. Okay, let's get to these next shades. I have placed Palace of Versailles and Hall of Mirrors on my eyelid today. Okay. Look at these. It's a very soft formula, so there will definitely be fallout. So be careful of that for application. But if you're looking for pigment, these give it to you, and they do blend out very easily. So this is the only palette that I've tried today, but it's so good. I'm really happy. Then let's get the final 2 mattes. Okay, very nice. So you can see the mattes just swatched amazing, but let's get into these multi-chrome shimmers because that's why we're here, right? So we have Imperial Crown, and then I'm wearing Royal Orb on my eyelid and Bleu de France. These have a very smooth consistency to them. They feel very, very high quality. Look at that. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, you ready? I did not press hard into the pan either. Ooh, you can kind of see the blue shift there. Nice. See, this one is on my eyelid. I have the blue base colors to make more of the blue shift pop. And then look at this one. This is like the dark purple, dark blue shift. I'm gonna layer it and press harder so you can see how it looks more built up. Like, look at that on my finger. Oh, okay. Work it. Okay, last 2 shades. St. Edward's Crown and then Royal Treasure. Take a look here on my fingers. Do you see how smooth they look? Okay. Beautiful. Oh my gosh, this shade would be so intimidating to me. Excuse me. This shade is so intimidating to me to put all over my eyelid. And then we have this shade right here, which is like that purple greenish shift. We've seen all of these shifts before, but I'm really happy that Nomad wanted to kind of dive into the multi-chrome world. I really think it's going to amp up their brand. The tones just go so beautifully with the mattes that they chose. If you like playing with darker kind of colors like, why? If you like playing with darker colors like this, you're gonna love it. So let me show you how I got today's look. So I started off with Palace of Versailles on the inner corner of my crease, and I blended that out. It was so beautiful, you guys. I was very shocked by the level of pigment, so be careful, and you're definitely going to have to tap off your brush. And then in the middle of my crease that I also blended out, I used Hall of Mirrors, which is a little brighter, a little deeper, and I was worried because I knew it was going to be super pigmented, and it was, but it blended out so nice. And then to add the depth in today's look, as much as I would have liked a navy in this palette, I used Neptune Fountain right here, which is this dark brown, and I thought it looked a little muddy at first, but once we completed the look, it no longer looks muddy, but I definitely wanted that to give a deeper look to the eye. And this is really the only option that I had that I could use, and it was nice. Blended out very, very nice. And then very simple, quick, easy look today. I finished off with Royal Orb. I just used my finger and I patted it all over the lid, and this is what it gave me. It's so beautiful. I wanted the look to be simple because I really wanted to see what these shimmers would do. And I would say compared to a lot of other multi-chrome from indie brands, the Nomad formula is quite buildable, which is a good thing. It's not too creamy or thick right off the bat, and that's going to help with longevity, but you can build it up to get a lot of impact on the eye. So far, I'm really liking this. I do have a code for this one as well if you were curious, but yeah, I really like this one. I think the color story is fun. So if you think you would wear these colors, I think quality-wise, this is one of my favorite palettes from Nomad. Sip time. All right, lastly, let's get into Sydney Grace. They sent me this in PR. So, and by the way, everything mentioned was given to me in PR in case you were curious. So they sent one of the new cheek palettes as well as the eyeshadow palette. I'm only going to swatch the eyeshadow palette, but I am going to show you a quick demo when I did my makeup today. I did use the Luminous Light palette. It's very, very beautiful. It has a bronzer, 2 blushes, and a highlight. These are $28 each, which I think is a really great price for the quality that you're getting. So I thought the bronzer was a really beautiful tone. I used Sweet Pea blush, which I was worried was going to be too light, but it shows very beautifully on my cheek. There was no lack of pigment. I have not used Love Struck, but I do have Day Glow also as my highlight. So these are very, very beautiful face palettes. I'm putting this in my drawer for speed reviews, so I'm definitely going to enjoy using that more. But I do have a new eyeshadow palette from Sydney Grace that I wanted to share with you. And even though Sydney Grace doesn't really have, I don't think there are any multi-chrome finishes, the quality of Sydney Grace is honestly just unbeatable, that it's so satisfying to watch the swatches. So this is the new Unbreakable Bond eyeshadow palette. It's $56. Now what's really unique about Sydney Grace as a brand that I think they deserve more credit for is they offer a light and a dark palette or deep palette. And so they change up the transition tones to be more flattering for different skin tones. I think that's so amazing. So I do have the light one to share with you guys. So let's get swatching. And so you guys can see with the lights down, this is the Luminous Light cheek palette. It is so pretty. Now this is the Unbreakable Bond eyeshadow palette. Really great neutral palettes, lots of peachy tones, and then you also have these fun pops of colors, which are actually very, very flattering and can be kind of neutral if you wish for them to be, but I love how it goes light, how there's a lot of deeper tones. It's a very wearable palette, so I think we're gonna go down row by row here. No, we're gonna go like this. I see, yeah, okay. Starting off with the top row, Spring Fling, Adore Me, Sun Poisoning, and Sweater Weather. What do we think? That's beautiful, right? My eye was immediately drawn to Spring Fling. This is kind of like a lighter pinky champagne shade. See, I didn't press that hard and look how far that traveled. Then we have Adore Me, which is kind of a rosy, peachy matte. Sun Poisoning, I love that name. This is a warm shade. And then we have Sweater Weather, which is a shimmery cranberry color. Really beautiful over the holidays. We're very far from the holidays, but this right here in of itself will make a beautiful look. And that's what I'm noticing by looking at this palette. Working horizontally, these are each looks themselves. So we have Mama, Aunties, Tailor Girls, and then just Peachy. And these are the 4 shades. Again, put this under the brow bone, in the crease, all over the lid, or this one all over the lid. Let's see, so this is a really great shade to have in any palette, just this matte cream shade. And then Aunties is this beautiful, fiery, kind of like golden pink. Tailor's Girls is a pinky peach shade, matte, and you can see the Sydney Grace mattes are just so buttery. And then we have Just Peachy, which has a lot more pink in it. That one's really pretty. Ooh, if you like these kinds of tones, you're not going to beat the Sydney Grace quality. You really aren't. Now this row is my speed. I love that these turn a little bit more neutral, a little bit more cool. Tiara, okay. This one is going to be the showstopper. Oh my gosh. Yeah, look at that. Okay, I like how this is kind of like a brown black. All right, here we go. Dusty Trails. This is my ideal transition color. Then we have Backroads, a little deeper. That one did not swatch as nice, but I'm sure it's fine on application. Porch Swing. It's a darker blackish brown. And here we are, Tiara, doing her magic. Sydney Grace can make just a plain shimmer look magical, can't they? Final row, we have Cleveland, Haley's Haze, ooh, that as an all over color. And then we have like the more bluish and navy tones. Super pretty. I mean, the color story here isn't anything, you know, revolutionary, but it's a good neutral palette. Sydney Grace's quality speaks for itself, you know, no matter the color story. And you get a lot of colors in this palette as well. So this, it's bigger, but it still is good to travel with due to the sheer size. Stunning. Look at that. So great for the everyday makeup wearer who just really is still a makeup enthusiast, because you do get these elite formulations. I love Swatch and Sip so much. Speaking of sip, finish up my matcha. Alright guys, there we have it. That's all I have for today's Swatch and Sip. Just wanted to share some of my favorite indie brands' newest launches. Shout out Sydney Grace, shout out Nomad, shout out Fantasy Cosmetica. I love all of these brands so much, and I love their formulations. And I love how they launched all these at the same time, so I got to just play with them before I put most of them on my eyelids. And I look forward to testing these, so make sure you're subscribed to my channel, because I will feature my thoughts once I get these on my eyes in my upcoming monthly palette rankings, which I don't know if I'm going to do this month, but I might do one next month. We'll see. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this video. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys, have a good one.